Hi, and welcome to the very last one of our 12 days of Christmas. Thanks for joining me for the last 12 days of little routines that we've done on the mat. So we weren't trying to push you into anything too crazy, but hopefully you became a little bit more flexible, or you understood Pilates a little bit more, or maybe you understood a little more about your body, or just became aware of being in a better routine than usual, having to actually focus on yourself more during the last 12 days, which is what it's all about. Okay, so today we're going to start on our hands and knees, and we're just going to start with a cat stretch. Just allowing any tension to release through the lower back, allow it to let go, releasing tightness that sometimes builds up in the muscles that support the lower spine, and also allowing the neck muscles to release and let go as well. About 5 to 10 repetitions. I'm going to do 2 more. Last one. And then come back to that halfway position with the pelvis and just start to circle your tailbone around, as if you're drawing a circle with your tailbone. So we're just doing some pelvic rotations. Come back the other way. 2 more, so about 5 to 10 repetitions. Come back to centre, just look over your right shoulder to your right heel, and over to your left shoulder to your left heel. Allowing the pelvis just to move from side to side. About 5 reps on each side. Lengthen through your fingers, opening up the hands and the palms, and then come back to centre. Go back into child's pose, feet together, knees away from each other. As you reach for the mat, the end of the mat, draw your shoulders down your back at the same time, increasing a stretch underneath the arms and into the middle back. Breathing wide into the rib cage, allowing the head to relax. Now if the head doesn't reach the floor, rest on a towel, or allow your hands to come to your forehead and just rest your head on your hands. Allow the sacrum to release and the tailbone to drop back. The sit bones, allow them to widen and soften. And then hands come towards the knees, roll yourself up, bring the knees together, come up into a kneeling position, take the hands forward. Abdominal strong, drop the shoulders, take a deep breath in. And as you breathe out, pull the abdominals in and up towards the ribs as you come back. And slowly coming back to centre. Inhale, drop the shoulders. Exhale, strong abs. Inhale, coming back. And again, keeping one long line. Shoulders soft, collarbone open. So you feel a stretch in the front of the thighs. Now we're going to add a twist. So take one hand out to the side, watch it go. Come back up. Change sides. Exhale, move. Inhale, come back up. So just turning from the ribs. So the hips stay facing forward. And the navel stays facing forward as well. So we've got stabilisation in the pelvis and in the lumbar spine, and we're just rotating into the thoracic spine. One more on each side. Take the hands behind the back, push away, lift the chest. Take the hands in front, push away. Tuck under with the pelvis, stretch between the shoulder blades, lift the hands up towards the ceiling and release. Okay, I'll face the camera. So make little fists, oh, lost my balance there, with your hands. And we'll just stretch as if you're holding heavy weights in each hand and it's pulling you down towards the knees. We'll reach out of that hip. The pelvis stays facing forward. That looks pretty easy, but sometimes I see rotations in the pelvis when this is happening, trying to get out of the stretch. So really try and fix that pelvis in the same position. So you might have to have a little look at it, see what's going on, because sometimes it has a little mind of its own. And you might not be aware of certain tightnesses in your hips or in your lower back. So I have a little bit more tightness in my right side, so I can really feel that stretch in my right side, so making sure my hip doesn't try and come out of that stretch as I reach. So going for about 10 on each side, and then coming back to your centre position, take the hands out wide, push the palms away, breathe in and turn, exhale, come back, breathe in, turn to the other side, and exhale, and again breathing in and lift the rib cage, lift the chest from here, from your sternum, lengthen through the crown of the head, so we're lifting out of the spine, almost like we're growing with each rotation. Push the hands away. Last one on each side. Come back to centre, hands release, shake out the palms. Hands to the floor, tuck your toes under. We're going into pike, or in yoga it's called downward dog. Slide the shoulders up the back towards the ceiling. Take the tailbone up towards the ceiling. Now just soften the knees to take the strain off the hamstrings. Push the tailbone up towards the ceiling until you feel your back is really as long as it's going to get. Then straighten the legs. Heels aim towards the floor. Then start to walk the heels one at a time. So we're moving the calf, the back of the leg, the foot moving. Keep pushing the tailbone up towards the ceiling, aiming for those sit bones to be long. One more on each side, and then come back to your centre position, into the plank position, drop the hips to the floor and look up in front of you. And then take it back into the pike position, soften the knees, lengthen the back, straightening the legs again. Slowly coming forward, dropping the hips, looking straight ahead of you. And again taking it back. Soften the knees and then straighten them. Heels towards the floor. And one more, taking it forward, looking straight ahead. And then come back into the plank position, roll over onto your side, look up at your hand. If this is a bit tricky, come down to your knees. Okay, come back to the plank position. I'm going to turn my back to you because we're going over to the other side. Look up at your fingers and again go to the knees if you need to. Keep those hips lifted and then come back to the plank position. Now with one foot, taking it to the outside of the arm. Go as close to your hand as you can, keep your foot flat on the floor. Doesn't matter if it's halfway or if it's 3/4. Drop the other leg towards the floor. Look up in front of you, so opening up the hip. Take that leg back, come back into downward dog, and then change legs. Opening up the hip, flat foot on the other side, drop that hip to the floor. Got my lights in my toes, probably not a good idea to bring them with me. Come back into downward dog, and we'll go again onto the other side. We're going for 3 on each side. Your knee can come to the floor, which is fine, or just off the floor, which you might find a little bit harder. Last one on each side. And considering we sit most of the day, this can be quite tricky for us when we get tight hips, or if you're a runner, quite tight in the hamstrings. It really helps to get the hips moving, opening up the hips and the tightness in the inner thighs. Come to plank. Alternating leg lifts for 3 on each side. Shoulders, drop them back. And then one knee at a time, come to the floor, go back into child's pose. Get your breath back, and then roll yourself up coming onto your side, onto your elbow, so we give the wrists a little bit of a rest now, because they would be a little bit compressed after doing all of that, so we'll shake them out later. Bend the knees, or straighten the legs if you want to. We're going into a half plank, take the hands up towards the ceiling. So in this position with the legs bent or straight. Okay, focus on your hips, drop the hip to the floor, lift it back up again, and again, and we're going for 5, there's 3, 4, 5, and release it, come over onto your elbows, come into the plank position, either on your knees or on your toes. If you're going into the full plank, drop the hips from side to side for 1, for 2, for 3, for 4, 1 more on each side, for 5, and then release. Before we do the side plank on the other side, come up into a seated position, take the hands out in front, lift them up towards the ceiling, and then roll yourself down, all the way to the floor. Hands behind the head, lift the arms, lift the head, look towards your toes, make sure your hips are level, abdominals are in and up towards the ribs, rolling yourself up, lifting the arms up towards the ceiling, and then roll yourself down. Now halfway is all you can do, which is fine, you don't have to go all the way to the floor, you hold it here, otherwise all the way, reach the legs long away from you, drop the rib cage down, exhale as you come back up, rolling through the spine, lift, we're doing 3, lengthen the legs away from you, and then lift the arms, bend the knees, pick up the feet, hold on to your shins, and we're going to roll. 1, breathing in, roll back, 2, just 1 more, 3, and then we'll take over onto the other side for your side plank. Bending the knees or straight legs. If you can, lift the arm, don't worry if you can't, or it's on your side. Little dips towards the floor for 1, 2, 3, 4, last one, 5, roll over onto your front, come into that half plank position to start with. Okay, get your form first, and then come up onto straight arms, and then come down onto your elbows. Straight arms and elbows, and if you wish, on your toes. It's a little bit harder. And if you feel that in your back, go back down onto your knees. We're going to do 2 more. Last one. And then bend the knees, come back into child's pose. And roll yourself up. Bring those legs back around in front. This time bend them and bring them together. Take the arms out in front, roll back, half oblique twist. Coming back up other side. Watch the hand go. Turning from the ribs. Exhale as you move. Inhale as you come back up. So exhale, drop the shoulders, open up the ribs. Try not to lift the shoulders. If you find your shoulders are lifting, don't go back too far. And then pick up the feet. If you can, hold your body like a board again, but if you can, hold onto the shins and the knees drop out. So we start to open up the hips again as we go into the seal. So we'll roll back, breathe in. Exhale, come back up. 3 claps, opening up the hips. And again. 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3. Straightening out the legs. Roll yourself forward, reaching for the feet, and then releasing. Hugging one knee, take that foot across the other leg, opposite arm wraps the knee, so you hug it towards your armpit, hand behind the back, lift the chest and turn towards that back hand. So my right hand is behind me, my right leg is crossed over, and my left arm is wrapped around my right knee. Now push if that's the case with you, push your right hip into the floor. If you want to increase the stretch, you can bend your left knee. Come back to centre, lifting the chest a little bit more, take a deep breath in, and exhale as you turn again. You can turn a little bit more this time. Come back to centre, release, change sides. Other leg comes over, opposite arm wraps around, so my right arm is now hugging my left knee, and I'm turning around to my left side with my left arm. I get more of a stretch on this side. Pushing my left sit bone into the floor. Keep lifting the chest. Trying to turn from the ribs. Try not to turn from your lower back. That's being quite staying stable here. Lifting and turning from the rib cage only. Lengthen through the crown of the head and drop the shoulders. Take a deep, come back to centre. Take a deep breath in. And exhale and turn again. This time try and go a little bit further. Or pull that knee a little bit more in towards you. So really increasing the stretch in the glutes. Oh, lovely. And then come back to centre, shaking out the legs. Okay, let's work on those wrists. Circle the hands around, and then come back the other way. Shake them out, as if you're shaking water off them. And then grab hold of one wrist, take your thumb just where the wrist meets the palm, the hand. And as you let your hand just stroke where the middle of all the veins come in. Hello veins. You'll feel like a little bump or a little dent. Just let your thumb rest in that little indentation. Press down and pull back towards you as your fingers go down towards the floor, and you pull the wrist back towards you. So your hand's going one way and the wrist and the forearms coming back the other way. So we're creating space here in the back of the hand. We spent a lot of time in the compression, and these two joints were coming closer together. So compressed a lot of nerves and blood vessels going into the hand. So we just want to create some more space there. So we're just pushing in, just gently pushing in and pulling back, just very gently. Pulling back with a little bit more force, but very gently pushing in. And the hand coming down. And then just pulling back on the forearm, using the arm, just pulling back, circle the hand around again. You might feel a lot of creaking and cracking going on. So again, we're trying to, almost like you're trying to create more length in your wrist or in your forearm. As we circle the fingers, so reach along through your fingertips, and you pull back towards you with the forearm. About 5 to 10 circles in each direction. And then we'll go on to the other side. So this wrist feels like it's a lot lighter now. A lot more blood going through and oxygen going through. Releasing any compression. It's really pushing through the fingers, opening up the back of the hand. And then starting to circle around in one direction. Pull back with the wrist, pulling back on the forearm, pushing through with your fingers, and then come back the other way. Oh, lovely. A little bit tighter on that side because I'm right-handed. So that hand spends a lot of time on the mouse, on that computer. So I do this quite a bit, but it's very nice to do. Really create some space in that wrist, which creates more strength in the shoulder as well. Okay, well done guys, thank you for joining me. There's a couple of extra sessions I think we've put on today's email to you as well. Things about fascia and also about ankle releases and decompressions and things like that. So thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you again very soon. Any messages, please email me at mel.collie@live.co.uk or check out the details on my website, melcollie.com. Thank you very much. Happy New Year to you, and I hope you've got everything you wanted from Santa Claus, and I hope that 2013 brings you all that you ever wished for and hoped for. Take care and stay healthy. Bye.